For decades, the narrative was simple. If you wanted a credible fourth-generation fighter, you had three options: buy American, buy European, or buy Russian, and each came with a mountain of political baggage. But today, that equation is broken. A new player has stormed the international arms bazaar, not from Moscow, Washington, or Paris, but from Kamra, Pakistan. I'm talking, of course, about the JF-17 Thunder, the lightweight multi-role fighter that many dismissed as just another budget knockoff. But the market has spoken, and it's sending a very different message. The JF-17 is not just Pakistan's frontline defender. It's the most sought-after combat aircraft in the developing world. Countries are literally lining up. 5 nations are in active procurement talks. And the reason is simple. This machine delivers exactly what cash-strapped air forces have been begging for: proven lethality with no political strings attached. Today, I'm going to break down exactly how Pakistan turned a joint venture with China into a global defense export phenomenon, why Western analysts are calling it a market disruptor, and what this means for the balance of power in the global South. This isn't just a fighter jet story. This is the story of a nation's technological coming of age. To understand the export success, you first have to understand the origin. Rewind to the late 1990s. Pakistan's Air Force was facing U.S. sanctions meant F-16 spare parts were held hostage to Washington's political whims. Islamabad needed an indigenous solution, something affordable, something it could build itself, and something no foreign power could use as leverage. Enter the Pakistan-China partnership. In 1999, the two countries signed an agreement to co-develop a lightweight, all-weather, multi-role fighter. The deal was elegant in its symmetry. Pakistan would manufacture 58% of the aircraft, including the airframe, at the Pakistan Aeronautical Complex in Kamra, while China's AVIC Chengdu facility would supply 42% of the avionics. The first JF-17 Block 1 took to the skies in 2003 and entered service with the Pakistan Air Force in 2007. But here's the thing that separates the Thunder from so many development projects that stall out: it never stopped evolving. Block 1 gave Pakistan a solid, affordable fighter. Block 2 brought air-to-air refueling, improved avionics, and a wider weapons suite. But Block 3, that was the game changer. The latest variant features the JF-17 active electronically scanned array radar, a wide-angle holographic heads-up display, an advanced electronic warfare suite, and a full-authority digital fly-by-wire system. This is not a cheap imitation. This is a legitimate 4.5 generation fighter that can hold its own against platforms costing 3 times as much. But let me be blunt. No amount of marketing hype or slick brochures sells a fighter jet like combat performance. And this is where the JF-17 has done something truly remarkable. Something its Indian rival, the HAL Tejas, has never managed to replicate. In February 2019, during Operation Swift Retort, Pakistan Air Force JF-17s engaged Indian aircraft in contested airspace. The result? An Indian MiG-21 Bison shot down, and its pilot, Wing Commander Abhinandan, captured on Pakistani soil. Then came May 2025. Following a terrorist attack in Kashmir, India launched airstrikes across the line of control. The Indian Air Force deployed its best, French Rafales, Russian Sukhois, expecting to dominate. Instead, JF-17 and J-10Cs, armed with PL-15 beyond visual range missiles, met them head-on. Multiple Indian jets were downed over 4 days of intense aerial combat. Pakistan claims it shot down 6 Indian aircraft, including 3 Rafales. Now, whether you believe every claim or not, and let's be honest, both sides spin their narratives, what matters for export credibility is that the JF-17 did take part in actual combat. It fought, and by all accounts, it fought extremely well. One defense analyst at the S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies called the JF-17 a market disruptor due to its affordable price tag and, more importantly, its recent success in combat. This is the exact same dynamic that made Turkey's Bayraktar TB2 a global phenomenon after it proved itself in Syria, Libya, and Ukraine. Combat is the ultimate currency in the arms market, and the JF-17 is now one of the very few 4.5 generation fighters on the planet with demonstrated blood in the sky. A lot of people see the price tag and assume the JF-17 must be technically primitive. That assumption is completely wrong, and it completely misunderstands what this aircraft actually brings to the table. Let's talk specifications. The Block 3's KLJ-7A AESA radar can track up to 16 targets simultaneously at ranges of up to 200 kilometers. That's genuine beyond visual range detection capability. It's highly resistant to electronic jamming, which means it stays effective even in contested electromagnetic environments where older mechanically scanned radars go blind. And the weapon that turns all that radar data into kills? The PL-15, Beyond Visual Range Air-to-Air Missile. This is the same missile carried by China's frontline J-10C and J-20 stealth fighters. Jane's, the authoritative defense publication, estimates its maximum range at 300 kilometers. It flies at Mach 4, features its own AESA seeker, and, critically, it outranges the Russian R-77, European Mika, and Meteor missiles that arm India's MiG-29s and Rafales. What this means tactically is devastating. A JF-17 Block 3 can detect, track, and engage an enemy fighter well before that enemy can return fire. The PL-15 was specifically designed to destroy high-value aerial targets, AWACS, tankers, and advanced fighters at extreme standoff ranges. And now, that capability is being exported to any nation that buys the JF-17 Block 3. Add to that a modern electronic warfare suite, a holographic wide-angle HUD, a missile approach warning system, and precision-guided munitions for ground strikes, and you're looking at a complete lethal combat package. This is not a budget fighter in terms of capability. It's a budget fighter in terms of price, which is an entirely different proposition. The JF-17 Thunder, depending on the variant, sells for roughly $25 to $50 million per unit. Compare that to the competition. France's Rafale costs over $90 million per plane. Sweden's Gripen, over $100 million. The Eurofighter Typhoon sits around $117 million. An American F-35? $109 million. And that's before we even talk about operational restrictions. But the price advantage goes deeper than the sticker. The JF-17's maintenance costs are dramatically lower than those of Western and Russian platforms. Its RD-93 engine, produced by Russia's Klimov, is known and tested. The airframe is designed for ease of maintenance by crews trained on relatively simple systems. For a developing nation's air force, this is the difference between a fighter that flies combat missions and one that sits in a hangar waiting for expensive spare parts that may or may not clear export controls. Then there's what I call the political sovereignty premium. Buy an American jet, and Washington can ground your fleet by cutting off spare parts. Buy European, and you're subject to usage restrictions and potential embargoes. The JF-17 comes with precisely none of these strings. As Middle East Eye noted, purchasing the aircraft, quote, comes with no political strings, and buyers are shielded from usage restrictions or political vetoes. For nations that want to maintain strategic autonomy, and believe me, that's an increasingly valuable commodity in today's multipolar world, this is an enormous selling point. The export story started quietly. In 2015, Myanmar became the first foreign customer, ordering 16 Block 2 jets. It was a modest deal, but it cracked open the door. In 2021, Nigeria followed, a smaller order of 3 aircraft, but symbolically massive. An African nation choosing the JF-17 over pricier, more politically complicated options. Then came the Azerbaijan deal, and this is where the floodgates opened. In 2024, Baku signed a contract for up to 40 JF-17 Block 3 aircraft in a deal worth $4.6 billion, the largest defense export contract in Pakistan's history. Deliveries began in 2025. and the jets are now operational. Azerbaijan, a nation with combat experience in Nagorno-Karabakh, chose the JF-17 not out of charity, but because it evaluated the platform and concluded it offered the best capability per dollar on the market. And now, the pipeline is staggering. In late 2025, Pakistan signed a defense agreement with the Libyan National Army that includes JF-17s. Iraq, Bangladesh, and Indonesia have all formally expressed interest. Sudan is in discussions. Even Bangladesh, traditionally tied to Chinese and Russian suppliers, appears close to finalizing a purchase. The JF-17 Thunder is an export success because it delivers exactly what the international arms market was starving for. It is combat-proven, having faced and defeated modern Western and Russian platforms in real shooting wars. It is technologically sophisticated, with AESA radar, electronic warfare systems, and the PL-15, a long-range missile that outclasses what most adversaries carry. It is affordable, priced at a quarter to a third of comparable Western fighters, with none of the political baggage that comes with American or European platforms. If you enjoyed this analysis, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with others. I'll see you in the next one.